Deep within the heart of the Whispering Woods, a magnificent creature dwells. His name is Viridian, and he is no ordinary dragon. His scales shimmer with an emerald hue, reflecting the ancient wisdom he carries. Viridian has called these woods home for centuries. He has witnessed the rise and fall of countless kingdoms. The forest around him pulses with magic and secrets. Viridian's presence is both awe-inspiring and comforting. He moves through the trees with a grace that belies his size. His wings, when unfurled, span the width of mighty oaks. Yet he rarely flies, preferring to walk among the flora and fauna he protects. The creatures of the forest regard him as their guardian and friend. Even the oldest trees seem to bow in his presence. The dragon's eyes hold the depth of ages. They've seen war and peace, drought and plenty. Viridian has learned to cherish the delicate balance of nature. He understands the interconnectedness of all living things. This knowledge has made him a patient and thoughtful custodian of the woods. He intervenes only when necessary, allowing the natural order to flourish. Legends speak of Viridian's vast knowledge. They say he can speak to the wind and hear the whispers of the earth. Some believe he knows the language of stars, but Viridian is humble. He sees himself as a student of the world, always learning. The Whispering Woods are his teacher, and he listens carefully to their lessons. It is this humility that has made him truly wise. At the edge of the Whispering Woods lies Oakridge Village. It's a small community of thatched roof cottages and cobblestone streets. The villagers here live in harmony with nature. They've learned to respect the forest and its guardian. For generations, they've thrived under Viridian's distant but watchful eye. The people of Oakridge have a unique tradition. Every full moon, they leave gifts at the forest's edge. These offerings are tokens of gratitude for Viridian's protection. Fresh-baked bread, hand-woven blankets, and carefully crafted trinkets are common gifts. The children of the village take great pride in creating colourful drawings for the dragon. These gifts are always gone by morning, though no one has ever seen Viridian collect them. Oakridge's prosperity is evident in its lush gardens and healthy livestock. The villagers attribute this to Viridian's benevolent influence. They believe his presence keeps the soil fertile and the air pure. In times of drought, gentle rains seem to fall just when needed most. During harsh winters, the cold never seems quite as bitter near the woods. The villagers speak of these blessings in hushed, reverent tones. The elders of Oakridge pass down stories of Viridian's wisdom. They tell tales of times when the dragon's advice saved the village from disaster. Once his warning helped them prepare for a great flood. Another time his knowledge of herbs cured a terrible illness. These stories reinforce the bond between the village and their emerald guardian. They teach each new generation to cherish and protect the delicate balance between human and nature. On a misty autumn morning, strange figures appeared at the edge of Oakridge. They wore hooded cloaks that concealed their faces. Their arrival caused a stir among the villagers. Whispers spread quickly through the cobblestone streets. Who were these mysterious visitors? What did they seek in this peaceful corner of the world? The strangers made their way to the village square. There they revealed their purpose to the gathered crowd. They sought audience with Viridian, the wise dragon of Whispering Woods. Their quest, they explained, was of great importance. They were searching for the lost tome of Eldertide. This ancient book was said to contain knowledge of immense power. The hooded figures believed Viridian might know of its whereabouts. The village elders listened with concern. They knew the dangers of disturbing Viridian without good reason, but they also recognized the gravity of the stranger's quest. After much deliberation, they agreed to help. A young messenger was sent into the woods to seek Viridian's counsel. The village held its breath, waiting for a response. As dusk fell, a gentle rumble echoed through the trees. The leaves rustled with an unseen wind. Then, emerging from the forest's shadows, came Viridian. His emerald scales glimmered in the fading light. The villagers gasped in awe. Many had never seen the dragon this close before. The hooded figures stepped forward, bowing deeply. They presented their quest to Viridian, their voices filled with respect and urgency. The wise dragon listened carefully, his ancient eyes studying each of them in turn. Viridian's decision to aid the Seekers was not made lightly. He understood the power of the lost tome of Elder Tide. He knew the dangers it could pose in the wrong hands, but he also recognized the importance of knowledge. After careful consideration, he agreed to guide them on their quest. The dragon's wisdom would be crucial in navigating the perils ahead. As dawn broke, the strange group set out into the depths of Whispering Woods. Viridian led the way, his massive form creating a path through the dense foliage. The hooded figures followed closely, their excitement palpable. The trees seemed to whisper as they passed, sharing ancient secrets. The forest floor was soft beneath their feet, cushioned by centuries of fallen leaves. The first challenge came swiftly. They encountered a ravine too wide to cross. The Seekers looked to Viridian for guidance. The dragon closed his eyes, listening to the wind. Then, with a gentle breath, he created a bridge of swirling leaves and branches. It was solid enough to walk on, yet disappeared as soon as they crossed. The Seekers marveled at this display of natural magic. As they journeyed deeper, the forest grew darker and more mysterious. Strange sounds echoed in the distance. Glowing fungi lit their path with an eerie blue light. Viridian explained the history of these woods as they walked. He spoke of ancient battles, of kings and queens long forgotten. The Seekers listened intently, realizing that this journey was about more than finding a book. It was a rare opportunity to learn from a being who had seen the turning of ages. Section 5. Trials of the Enchanted Forest. The group's resolve was tested as they faced the trials of the Whispering Woods. Each challenge seemed designed to turn them back. A dense fog descended, obscuring their path. Viridian taught them to listen to the trees for guidance. They learned to feel the direction of growth in the bark. This allowed them to navigate even when they couldn't see. Next, they encountered a field of beautiful but deadly flowers. Their pollen induced a deep sleep from which few ever woke. Viridian showed them how to craft masks from large leaves. He instructed them in identifying safe plants. His knowledge of the forest's flora proved invaluable. They crossed the field unharmed, but with a new respect for nature's power. As night fell, eerie whispers filled the air. Shadows seemed to move of their own accord. The Seekers huddled close to Viridian, fear evident in their eyes. The dragon remained calm. He explained that these were the spirits of the forest, curious about their presence. Viridian spoke to the shadows in an ancient tongue. The whispers turned melodic, almost welcoming. The Seekers realized that what they had feared was simply misunderstood. Their greatest trial came in the form of a raging river. Its waters roared with unnatural force. Crossing seemed impossible. Viridian studied the river thoughtfully. He then instructed the group to gather specific stones from the riverbank. Using these, and with Viridian's guidance, they constructed a small dam. The dragon then used his fire, carefully controlled, to create steam. This reduced the river's flow just enough for safe passage. The Seekers were amazed at this combination of natural engineering and dragon magic. Section 6. Viridian's wisdom shines through. As the group progressed deeper into the Whispering Woods, Viridian's wisdom became increasingly apparent. He didn't just lead them through physical challenges, the dragon also guided them through moral dilemmas. When they encountered a wounded creature, Viridian taught them the importance of compassion. He showed them how to heal using the forest's herbs. This lesson in kindness strengthened their resolve. One evening, around a magical fire that gave off no smoke, Viridian shared ancient stories. He spoke of the balance between knowledge and wisdom. The dragon explained that having information was not the same as understanding it. He encouraged the Seekers to question their motivations. Why did they seek the lost tome? What would they do with its power? These discussions often lasted late into the night. They left the group pondering deep truths about themselves and their quest. Viridian's teachings extended to practical skills as well. He showed them how to find clean water by looking for certain plants. The dragon taught them to read the stars for navigation. he explained how different bird calls could warn of approaching danger. Under his tutelage, the Seekers became more attuned to the forest around them. They began to see the woods not as an obstacle, but as a living, breathing entity. Perhaps most importantly, Viridian taught them about consequences. Every action, he explained, had an impact on the delicate balance of nature. He showed them how a carelessly broken branch could disrupt an entire ecosystem. The dragon encouraged them to move through the world with awareness and respect. This lesson would prove crucial when they finally encountered the lost tome of Eldertide. Viridian was preparing them not just for the journey, but for the responsibility that came with great knowledge. Section 7. Bonds forged in adventure. As days turned into weeks, the bonds between Viridian and the Seekers grew stronger. The initial awe they felt for the dragon transformed into deep respect and affection. They began to see beyond his majestic appearance to the gentle soul within. Viridian, in turn, found himself enjoying their company. Their curiosity and determination reminded him of the joy of discovery. Around campfires at night, they shared stories of their lives before the quest. One Seeker was a scholar, driven by a thirst for knowledge. Another was an artist, hoping to draw inspiration from ancient wisdom. There was a healer looking for forgotten remedies, and an explorer mapping uncharted lands. Viridian listened to each tale with interest. He saw how their diverse backgrounds brought unique perspectives to their journey. The challenges they faced together created a sense of camaraderie. When one member struggled, the others were quick to offer support. They learned to work as a team, each contributing their strengths. Viridian watched this development with approval. He knew that unity would be crucial for the trials ahead. The dragon shared his own vulnerabilities, speaking of times when even he felt uncertain. This openness further strengthened the bond between them. As they traveled, the Seekers began to adopt some of Viridian's mannerisms. They moved more quietly through the forest, respecting its peace. They took time to appreciate the beauty around them, just as the dragon did. Even their conversations became more thoughtful, filled with the kind of wisdom Viridian had been sharing. The dragon noticed these changes with quiet pride. He realized that in guiding them, he too was learning and growing. Section 8. The Hidden Chamber of Secrets. After many days of travel, the group arrived at an ancient stone structure hidden deep in the woods. Viridian's eyes gleamed with recognition. This, he explained, was the entrance to the chamber where the lost tome of Eldertide was said to be hidden. The structure was covered in vines and moss, nearly invisible among the trees. Intricate carvings worn by time decorated its surface. Viridian instructed the Seekers to search for a specific symbol among the carvings. It took hours of careful examination, but finally they found it. A small dragon etched into the stone, almost identical to Viridian himself. When touched, the carving glowed with an inner light. The ground rumbled, and a hidden door slowly opened in the hillside. The group stood in awe at the entrance to the secret chamber. Before entering, Viridian gave them a solemn warning. The chamber, he said, was protected by ancient magic. It would test not just their physical abilities, but their wisdom and moral character. The dragon reminded them of all they had learned on their journey. He encouraged them to trust in themselves and in each other. With deep breaths and determined expressions, the Seekers prepared to enter. As they stepped into the chamber, torches along the walls burst into flame. The light revealed a vast cavern filled with pedestals, each holding a different book or artifact. The air hummed with magical energy. Viridian explained that this was a repository of ancient knowledge, of which the lost tome was just one part. He cautioned them to touch nothing unless absolutely necessary. Every item here, he said, held power that could be dangerous if misused. The Seekers nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of responsibility that came with entering this sacred space. Section 9. Confronting the Lost Tome of Eldertide. In the heart of the hidden chamber, atop a central pedestal, sat the lost tome of Eldertide. Its cover gleamed with an otherworldly light, adorned with symbols that seemed to shift and change. The seekers approached with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Viridian watched closely, his ancient eyes filled with caution and wisdom. As they neared the tome, a shimmering barrier became visible. Viridian explained that this was the final test. To reach the book, one must prove worthy of its knowledge. Each seeker stepped forward, placing a hand on the barrier. It reacted differently to each touch. For some, it grew hot. For others, it felt icy cold. One by one, they were gently pushed back. Finally, the scholar among them approached. As her hand touched the barrier, it dissolved like mist. The chamber fell silent. Viridian nodded approvingly. He explained that the tome had recognized her pure desire for knowledge, untainted by thoughts of power or personal gain. With trembling hands, she lifted the lost tome of Eldertide from its resting place. The moment the book left the pedestal, the chamber began to rumble. Dust fell from the ceiling and the torches flickered wildly. Viridian's voice cut through the chaos, urging them to leave quickly. The dragon led the way, guiding them through the collapsing passageways. They emerged into the forest just as the entrance sealed itself behind them. The ancient structure once again became invisible among the trees, its secrets once more hidden from the world. Section 10. A Dragon's Warning and the Power of Knowledge. As the dust settled, the group gathered around the scholar holding the lost tome of Eldertide. Excitement filled the air, but Viridian's expression remained serious. He knew that their real challenge was just beginning. The dragon gathered them close, preparing to share his final and most important lesson. Viridian spoke of the responsibility that comes with great knowledge. He explained that the tome contained information that could change the world. In the right hands, it could bring about an age of enlightenment and progress. But if misused, it could lead to destruction and chaos. The dragon stressed the importance of wisdom in applying knowledge. He urged them to consider